Hello, my friends. All right, so this one is super fun. It's one of my favorites. It's the Ugly Bunny. It's so cute. So fun, so easy. What we need is watercolor paper if you have it. Plain white paper will be fine. If you don't, we need a good pencil with an eraser and the super thin Sharpies. They're the ones with the flat top, okay? And then our watercolors, obviously. All right, let's get started. All right, my friends, this is one of the cutest little bunnies I have ever seen. I love how these turn out. But it's sometimes hard to get these shapes. So we are going to break down this pretty simple bunny shape into even simpler shapes, right? So you with me? So down here towards the bottom, I want you to make a nice circle. Nice circle, right? Really get your hand moving in that circle motion and then put your pencil down on paper, okay? So mine's really light, right? Just like that. And on top of that circle, we're going to put a little oval. We're going to kind of overlap them a little. You see that? Just like that. And that is going to be the face. It's really that simple. Okay, we're just going to now connect the two. All right, to help us connect the two, we're going to put some eyeballs in. So the eyes are really just going to be big ovals, and they're going to go in that little area, the opening kind of triangle space between our two, like circle and oval. I was going to call them both circles, but they're not technically both circles. So just kind of like that. All right, nice, tall ones like that. And then I know this is looking crazy, but bear with me. Down here at the bottom, we're going to make his cute little nose, and we're going to put two more circles kind of side by side. Just like that. Okay? Now it's time for us to grab our skinny Sharpie, and we're going to put it all together. All right, so we are going to use small sketchy lines. So short lines, no big lines. We're going to use short sketchy lines to kind of put these two together. Okay? So we're going around. We've got our little eyes. Now, when we get down here to the bottom, we're going to connect these two circles by kind of bringing them in little loopies together. You see that? How I kind of made a smiley face and an upside down smiley face right there. All right, we're going to still keep working down the nose here and underneath the mouth. We can also put like a little mouth under there. Right? I'm going to just keep going over my lines, small little sketchy lines. Right? I want to make sure we still have some shape there. And for the eyes, we're going to fill them all in except for one little circle. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in my circle like that. We do want to fill them in with our Sharpie. Just like that, except for one little circle, right? All right, so I think that's it for the Sharpie for right now. We're going to put a cap back on that, and we are going to give him some ears with our pencil. So first one is going to come from the side and go fairly straight up, right? And then we'll kind of curve it back down to the middle, right? Just about like that. And then the other one, same kind of a thing. I like to make a flatter bottom. And then the inside, maybe this one has a bigger kind of curve to it. Kind of fun to make them not symmetrical, right? Big word for not the same. But you do want them to hit about the same place on the head, right? Okay, same thing. Oh, we got to put the little centers on there. So I can just use that line. We want to put a little center part in the ear, right, where we could have a little change in color. There we go. You know the deal, small little lines. Just like that. Go over it more than once. We don't want just one line. I mean, we want one line, but you want to go over it more than once, right? Like I always say, things can look a little funny and then you go over them a bunch of times and all of a sudden they don't look so funny. Right? Just like that. And then last but not least, we need to add a little body. I think we can just not do the pencil for that, but if you feel like you need to, you certainly can. Best thing about the pre-records, you can just pause it, right? And then we need to give him some cute little whiskers, so just a few on each side. Just like that. I'm going to go ahead and clean up some of my lines that are really obvious, and then we'll move on to painting this cute little critter. All right, so for this one, we are going to do a wet on wet method, especially for kind of the head method. Now, I'm using watercolor paper, so this will be a little easier for me than it will be if you're not using watercolor paper. But by all means, if you're using regular paper, white paper, you can certainly still do this. You just are going to need to work in really small sections, okay? So right now I am loading a bunch of brown into the top of my watercolor palette. Now, even if you're using the watercolor palette from school, which is super light, you're still gonna want to do this because we're gonna need to add some blacks to it, all sorts of stuff. Look at my black from earlier. All right, so this bunny is going to be mostly browns and blacks. We're going to put a little bit of blue and purple in the cheeks to lighten him up. The lightest section of him is going to be his little kind of nose area, kind of right here in the middle, and then a little bit light on his ears, okay? So I am going to start at his forehead, put a little water on there, and I'm going to start actually, you know what? We just made that brown, but I'm going to start a little bit with my black. Now, you guys know the deal with black. You need to put it over here in your top. This is very watered down. I'm warming this back up because this was from yesterday. This is not very thick black. Can you guys see that? It's more gray, but I already have water on my paper, so it's already not going to be this dark. So I'm going to go ahead and put my black down, let it kind of hang out a little bit. I'm going to wet the section below it, okay? Really wash my brush out. This is where my brown is going, okay? I'm going to wash my brush out even more. And that's where my lightest area is going to be, right there. And I'm kind of pushing everything away from it, okay? Just kind of moving it around. But I do kind of want to leave things alone a little bit. See, I'm bringing a little bit of my black in, but I'm not really messing too much with that, okay? I'm going to do that same thing on the little mouth area. Got it wet. Go in with my black. Kind of place that down, place it down below. Wash it off. Go in with my brown. Okay. Do the same thing in the ear. Then we're going to actually make our own blackish brown to kind of do the midtones. This time I am going to bring some black just right onto the paper, and I actually don't think I'm going to do much of the wet on wet in the ears, and I'll tell you why. I don't want it to spread where I don't want it, which is essentially in the middle. I don't really want much of that black tone or any dark in that middle area at all. So I'm just going to kind of leave it there. I'm going to put a little more water on my brush, bring it into the middle. All right. Very free this one is. Free strokes, just kind of playing around with it. But again, if I did not water down my black, if I was just taking this right out of my paint palette, it would not be doing this. It would be very, very stark black in places where it really isn't right now. Now I let a little bit of gray go into the center there and mix around a little bit. Going in with my brown kind of around it. As you can see, I'm kind of putting my brown in the places that I didn't put my black, right? And I just went in with a little more rich brown. Okay. Same thing on the body. Oop, let me get a little more water in there. Put on some tones with the dark. Put in some of my kind of lighter midtones. That got a little dark right there, but that's okay. I'm also, now that my face has set up, I'm going to go back in with a little more of my rich brown and kind of give a little more brown in there. Okay. I'm going to blend that just a little bit. Right, I'm just going back in and adding a little bit more wherever I feel like I need a little dark. There we go. And then here in just a second, where we're going to fill in the rest of this is we're going to add a little bit of black to our brown. All right. And I want us to take this on the sides of the cheeks, okay? Remember we wanted our middle part to be light, but this blackish brown, we're gonna bring up the sides of the cheeks, okay? Just like that. We're also gonna take this blackish brown and we're gonna bring it up into the ears. Anywhere we have some white showing. Okay, we don't want to blend the two. Okay, we want them to stay different colors, but we're just kind of using this as the middle tone, right? Just like that. Just making sure none of your bunny has white on him, basically. I'm going to do the same thing down here in the body and underneath the chin. Just making sure most all that white is filled in. We're almost there. Last but not least, we're going to add just a little bit of watered down blue to the cheekies, just to give another little tone. And it's just going to go a little bit right through there. And I'm just going to kind of dab it on. It does not come out as super blue. Right? Just like that. And we can even do a little dab of purple. Right? And that's our cute little bunny. You can kind of play around with that purple. My paper is kind of starting to move a little bit. There we go. And there we are. Last but not least, what I like to do is that last little flick of the wrist, and give them a little splatter. And that's our cute little ugly bunnies. I hope you enjoyed that one. See you next time.